remember in 2015, in 2015, when we really want to find out the team, I send this notice, then like 10 to 15 students always, they volunteer to come and participate. And we had a little interview, and then we selected 3 to 4 students. That's how we did. But unless students doesn't have king to participate and carry on, we just, we had nothing. But luckily we had, even though we, our normal setup, we are not coming weekdays into our day schools. We have day schools only in weekends. So that was not that easy for us to have this in practical. But luckily the students that we got, they are the one who really wanted to win the competition. So they came and we had practice session till late night. I think Ramidu knows very well because he was the latest one. Like after I come back from Japan, he was the one ten, 11 in night, right? And our students were very supportive. So mooting, even though it is not compulsory for us, we actually, the Open University wanted to have it. So long time we were discussing, and sometimes we try to participate with it, but we couldn't. Yeah, Lahiru, shall I share it? Okay, you all can see the screen, right? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Right, and this is a 2015, Henry Dunant Moot Court Memorial Competition. This is a national round. We were able to become the runners-up. And Niranjala, Jinani, Lakmali, I remember how they practice. They were working. Two of them are working. Only Jinani could not work properly. While they were doing their jobs, every week, every day, they came like by 5, 6 to the university, and they practiced till 9, 10. By the time I was a Moot Court advisor, they practiced very hard. And I remember that I invited some of the people, because we didn't have a humanitarian law expert in our university, because Ramidu, now we have Ramidu luckily, and our other lecturer with us. So, but now, by that time, I had to ask some people from KDU or some of our past mooters to come and share the knowledge with us, right? And this Varuna in this photo, he is the one of the specialists who gave us a practice session. And then this Moot Court is a 2016 team. This team Fahama and Roshini and I forget her name. Rajivi. They also, they're the second team that I could give my knowledge, and I share the knowledge, and they did that well, because then by this time, the Jinani, Lakmali, and Niranjala, 3 of them, they had that practice. So we could use them as resource persons. We invited them time to time. So they share the knowledge with us. So that's how we evolve little by little, and we had the full, at least students who know mooting. So little by little, we had that pool. Now we have like, I think 10 to 15 students, who actually know the laws. This is the 2017 team, and Sunetra and Sanat was advisors by that time. And then Dean Facets, Azra, Priyandima, and our other colleague, they were the same batch. So they actually private apply. We could not involve into this, but they had the key, they had the interest to participate. Then they contacted us, and they asked whether it is okay us to go there. And they did it by their own, but we were consulting. I remember that by the time I was in Japan, but we were contacting them, each other. Even by the time they go to the competition, we had some kind of calls during that time. And Janaha was giving her fuller support by that time, and Ramidi was there, I guess. And the human rights competition, you all know about this. These are latest thing, and they went to this debate. We were able to win this competition, this oratory competition also. And then Sinhala mooting, and Dulmi and the Ramindu took the in charge after this. I think now they are very capable of handling all the things. and this Tamil one also, we were able to participate for this. And then 2020, this is the biggest achievement. I mean, I should say that because this Azra, Sadanya, and Lahiru, I think more than me, Ramindu might have many things to share with us, because Ramindu fully engaged with them all the time. But I could attend by the time I was doing my headship. I think we discussed many things during that time, and my duty was to anyhow have the discussion to open up this Moot Court Society. I think Lahiru came many times. By the time I do my headship, he came many times. Ada hari apata meka karanna puluwanda, ada enawada, ada kata karamuda. That's how I think he wanted to start this. And I asked whether you have a team. He said, yes, there are people. We'll start this. Then we got a constitution from the other university, and then this is how we develop Moot Court Society constitution. And 2-3 times it went to the approval process. I think Ramindu was engaging, and we 3-4 times we did some amendments according to the comments given by the university to the constitution. So that was a huge process. Then after that, this team, I mean, they worked very hard, and they went up to the Hong Kong round, I mean, the regional round. That is the biggest achievement in Open University history in Moot Court. So we actually were able to do this just because you all your efforts. And then now, as soon as we got the approval, I was claiming this Moot Court room for a long time. I think now that is in process. I think if we could able to again engage with the dean and the head of our department, we will be able to have this Moot Court room also, because that is possible. We have decided the place. I have decided the place. If we could, Dean, I think Lahiru and Ramindu will talk later about this process, because that is in the list now. And when we talk the place, I mean, we talk about the place where we can get it as a Moot Court room, right? So I think we have the budget. I hope, I think now, because I'm not the head now, but we have to talk with the head again and the dean. We have our department funds. I think we will be able to have the Moot Court room soon if the university give the approval. So all this, because what we are trying to do, keep the university name high, keep the Open University name high, right? Because everybody was thinking Open University program is delaying, and now the era or history of the pride of Open University has gone away. But within the last 2-3 years, we were able to come back very strongly. And now the program is running smoothly now. So now this Moot Court will give the shine future for us, right? So you all have a duty now. Now I'm happy that 88 people, I'm seeing at least 80, at least 20 to 30 people will remain at the end of this year, right? This is how things are starting, but people who really want to engage, that might be possible. I think you're not only from Colombo now, all 9 regional center students might be here, right? Am I right? All 9 member students are here, right? So with all of you, we can, I think, continue the journey. And Tamil, Sinhala, I would like to have this all 3 medium Moot Court competition. I hope we can do this, right? Moots now not only in humanitarian, even trade law, criminal law, or disputes resolution, environmental law, many areas now we can cover under Moot. Right? So if I tell you something about the Moot again, this is our KDU Moot team. And if I tell you something about this, if I tell you something about this mooting process, mooting it's a simulation. I mean, it simulates a court hearing. I mean, Ramindu and Dhulmi will elaborate you, but I would like to tell you few things. Normally, you have to have some skills rather than the law. In mooting is all about your skills, your oratory skills, and also your knowledge of law, right? So when you're able to talk, and you have to talk with the facts and figures and also the knowledge of law. This is what we need to emphasize. I mean, we need to highlight when you're about to become a Moot student. Now, luckily in our new curricula in level 4, we have included this subject also as the law of advocacy, right? So we are now developing that subject also. So future our law students would be able to get the benefit of it. But normally Moot, I mean, why we need Moot? Moot always discuss unsettled legal issues. And also it's develop your research skills, your writing skills, and it's give the confidence to work with your peers, because you know that especially in a setup like Open University, ODL system, we are more distance. But this gives the opportunity for you to engage with peers and with your peers and enhance your advocacy skills, right? So these are the very, very big things. But if you want to become a mooter, first of all, you have to engage. We have to learn the art engaging with the bench, the judges, right? We normally say never ever talk with while the judge is talking, right? That is a basic rule. Never ever talk while the judge is talking, right? So you have to have that discipline. So there are some disciplines to improve. There are some skills that you have to develop when you become a moot court student. And applying law propositions to the facts, this practicality, and how do you learn this, how do you improve this, that is your skill. So we have to improve this skill one by one. How do we do this practical, develop these practical skills? And the last thing is time management. These three are much necessary. This is what I think now Dulmi and Ramidu will more elaborate on this. And mama podak wrap up karo Sinhaleng. මං හිතන්නේ අද ඉතාම වැදගත් දවසක් අපි හැමෝටම. ඒක තමයි මූට් කෝට් සොසයිටි එකක් ආරම්භ කරන්න ගොඩක් කලින් ඉඳන් අපි උත්සාහ කරා. ඒ උත්සාහ කරපු කාලේ ඉඳලා මං හිතන්නේ අද දවසට වෙනකම් අපිට එක එක සම්දිස්ථාන තිබ්බා. 2015 16 17 22 ඊට පස්සේ 21 මේ වගේ කාලවලදී අපේ ළමයි එක්ක සහ අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එන්ගේජ් වෙලා එක ටීම් එකක් හරි අපි ICRC මූට් කෝට් එකට යවුවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේ අවුරුද්දේ තමයි ගිය අවුරුද්දේ තමයි වැඩියෙන්ම ගියා අපි KDU එකට. ඊට පස්සේ සිංහල මූට් එකට, ටැමිල් මූට් එකට ඒගොල්ලෝ ගිය පාර තමයි ඒක මුලින්ම පටන් ගත්තේ. ඒතකොට ඒ දේවල් එක්ක අපි එන්ගේජ් වුණා. ඒකෙදී අපට පුළුවන් වුණා ඕපන් යුනිවර්සිටි එක කියලා කියන්නේ මූටින් වල අපට සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් විදියට නැතත්, අපේ රිසෝස් නැතත් අපිට හොඳ තැනකට මේක අරගෙන එන්න. එතකොට ඒ තැනකට අරගෙන එද්දී අපිට වැදගත්ම දේ තමයි ළමයි විදියට අපේ අය දීපු සපෝට් එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් මේකේ වැඩිම ක්‍රෙඩිට් එක මේ සොසයිටි එක අපි අරගෙන යනකොට කාලයක් තිස්සේ අපි අරගෙන ආවේ ඒ උනන්දුව. හැම අවුරුද්දකම අපිට හිටියා ළමයි 10ක් 15ක් සර් මූටින් ඕනෙමයි කියන අය. ඒතර මේ මූටින් ඕනෙමයි කියන තැනදී අපිට මොකද අපි කොලම්බියා යුනිවර්සිටි එකත් එක්ක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කම්පෙයාර් වුණා. ඒ කම්පෙයාර් වෙද්දී අපිට දැනුණා මේ අඩුව. ඒතකොට අපි මේ අඩුව හොයාගෙන ෆන්ඩ්ස් මොකුත් නැතුව අපි මේක දැනට පටන් අරන් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මම හිතනවා ඉස්සරහට මේකේ ෆන්ඩින් අපිට හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. ලහිරු ඇත්තටම අගය කරන්න ඕනේ මෙතනදී. ඒත් එක්ක හිටපු ටීම් එක මොකද ලොකු සහයෝගයක් දුන්නා මේක මුල ඉඳලම මේ විවස්ථාව හදන තැන ඉඳලා හැමදාම මට අමතක වෙන ගොඩක් වෙලාවදී ලහිරු ඇත්තටම කියනවා වද කරලා හරි මේක අද දාගමු කියන තැනට ඒක අරගෙන ආවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි රාමින්දු සර් ඔයාලගේ සෑහෙන උදව්වක් අපිට දුන්නා මේ වැඩේදී. මේක කරගෙන යද්දි දැන් දුල්මි මිස් අපිට ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් මං හිතන්නේ මූටින් වලට හොඳ ෆියුචර් එකක් අපිට ඉස්සරහට හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. මූට් කෝට් රූම් එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ අමතක කරන්න එපා. ස්ටුඩන්ට් රෙප්‍රසන්ටේටිව්ලා කියන්න ෆැකල්ටි බෝඩ් එකේ බලෙන් හරි කතා කරලා මූට් කෝට් රූම් එක ඉල්ලන්න කියලා. මොකද ඒක මම මිනිට් කරලා තියෙනවා ෆැකල්ටි බෝඩ් එකේ මම හෙඩ් ඉන්න කාලේ. ඒක ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා ඩීන්. ඒව ඔක්කොම මිනිට් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මූට් කෝට් රූම් එකක් අපිට ඕනි කියලා. ඒකට ෆන්ඩ්ස් අපි පොරොන්දු වෙලා තියෙනවා ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් ෆන්ඩ් එකෙන් අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අපේ ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් ෆන්ඩ් එකේ ඕන තරම් සල්ලි තියෙනවා අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේක කීම බරපතලයි උනට මම කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට දෙන්නේ ළමයිගේ යහපතට මේ ඒක ඉතින් කරගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්. ඒක මම හිතන්නේ දැනට පීඨාධිපතිතුමාත් ඇග්‍රි වෙච්ච දෙයක්. ඒ නිසායි මම ඒක කිව්වේ අපි එනකොට. ඉතින් ඒක අපි කොහොම හරි ඩෙවලොප් කරමු. ඉන්න තැනපවා අපි දැනට HSS හෝල් එකේ මූට් කෝට් රූම් එකක් දෙන්න තැනක් අපි ඒක හදන තැන කතා කරලා තියෙනවා දැන් ඉන්න මහාචාර්ය ඇන්ටන් පියරත්න එක්ක. ඉතින් අපි ඒක කරන ඕන විදිය කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. රමින්දු මම හිතන විස්තර දන්නවා. ඒතර අපිට ඒක කතා කරගෙන ඉස්සරහට අරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ටිකක් ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරගන්න. වයිශාසල ගොඩක්ම මේ වැඩේට කැමති. ඉතින් ඉස්සරහට මම හිතන්නේ අපිට පුළුවන් නම් එක ළඟ කොහොමද මේවා කරන්නේ අපිට ගොඩක්ම රිසෝසස් එක ප්‍රශ්න එයි. ඒ රිසෝසස් තාවත් අපි ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහොම හරි හය කරන්න පුළුවන් විදියට ෆන්ඩ්ස් ජෙනරේට් කරන්න වෙයි. ෆන්ඩ් ජෙනරේෂන් තමයි අපිට අඩු වෙන්නේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් කරද්දී. ඉතින් අපි ස්ටාෆ් එක විදියට දෙන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම සපෝට් එක ඕගලන්ට දෙනවා. ඊටාම සතුටුයි. මොකද මේක අත්‍යවශ්‍ය දෙයක් නෙමෙයි මේ පාර බැජස් වලට. Moot Court Society එකක් තියෙන එක. ඒත් ළමයිගේ ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් එකත් එක්ක Open University එක කියන්නේ ගොඩක් challenging ගමනක් ආපු ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක්. ලංකාවේ වැඩිම ළමයි ඉන්න දැන් වෙනකොට මම හිතන ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ දැනට ළමයි 4000ක් ඉන්නවා. අපි තමයි වැඩිම law students ලා ඉන්න ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක. ඒ වගේම අපි තමයි ලංකාවේ එකම law college එකේ අනුමැතිය සහිතව එකටම යන law department එක. එතකොට මේ law department එකට මේ විදිය දෙයක් ඇඩ් වෙනවා කියන්නේ ඒක අපේ අනාගතේදී ඉතාම සුදුසු දෙයක්. ඒ සුදුසු දෙයට උත්සාහය තියෙන්න ඕනේ අපි දෙගොල්ලොන්ගෙම. මම හිතන්නේ ඉස්සරහට අපිට මේ වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. අපි පුළුවන් තරම් උත්සාහ කරමු මේක මේ පවත්වගෙන ආපු එක අරගෙන යන්න. මම හිතන්නේ සිංහල වෙනම ඩිබේටින් සොසයිටි 3ක් තියෙනවද? නේද? ඔක්කොම එක ටීම් එක පෝස්ට් වලින් යන්නේ. හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ තරඟ වෙනම සංවිධානය කරනවානේ. ඒක සංවිධානය කරගෙන යන්න මම පුළුවන් වෙලාවට ලාභ. ඔව්. ආවම අපි කතා කරමු. ඉතින් රමිදු සර් ඉන්නවා ඔයගලන්ට ලොකු හයියක් මේ වෙලාවේ ඉන්න එක. ඒ වගේම දුල්මිමිස් ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න. වැඩ කරන්න ඉස්සරහට මොනවා හරි ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් ගද්දි රිසෝස් පර්සන්ස්ලා සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න ඕනුනොත් කතා කරන්න මම ඕනම වෙලාවක ලහිරුත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. සහ රමිසෝ මට කතා කරනවා. ඉතින් අපි මේ වැඩ කරගෙන යමු. ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක දැන් අලුත් අපේ මේ සනත් ඉන්න වංශාධිපති. ඉතින් එයා ගොඩක් වෙලට උදව් කරන කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් මේ කොහොම හරි අපි මේවා කරගමු. මොකද අලුතෙන් එන ළමයිට ලබන අවුරුද්දේ ඉඳලා Moot Court law of advocacy කියන නමින් යටතේ Moot Court mock trial ඒ වගේම මේ jury contest මේ ඔක්කොම අපි ඇතුළට ගේනවා ලබන අවුරුද්දේ අපේ syllabus එක ඇතුලේ. ඒක already approved subject එකක් first time Open University එකේ Moot මේ syllabus එකේට මේක ඇතුළත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. පෙරදින යුනිවර්සිටි එක තමයි මුලින්ම දැම්මේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් වෙලා තියෙනවා මේක ඇතුළට දාලා ඉස්සරහට අරගෙන යන්න. ඒතර අපේ සිලබස් එක අලුත් සබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් තියෙනවා. මේක ඇතුලේ ඒ කියන්නේ අලුතෙන් තියෙන දේවල් එක්ක අපිට පුළුවන් මේ හියුමැනිටේරියන්ම නැතුව අලුත් දේවල් ටිකක් එකතු කරන් අලුත් විදිය තරඟ ටිකක් කරන්න. ඉතින් වැඩ කරන්න ළමයි ටිකක් ඉන්න එක විතරයි අපිට ඕනේ. රීජනල් වයිස් ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් වලට යන්න පුළුවන්. නැෂනල් යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ විදියට යන්න මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොටම සුබ පතනවා. සුබ දවසක්. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable experience with us. It was really inspirational. I hope that we could achieve all that you wished by the end of the year. And the next speaker joining with us today is Mr. Ramindu Pereira, Senior Lecturer, Department of Legal Studies, Open University of Sri Lanka. He has served as a coach for several Moot Court competitions, and he is the treasurer of the Moot Court and Debate Society of Open University of Sri Lanka. We are excited to hear your thoughts regarding this. Over to you, Chatumali.
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. Good evening, everybody. So it's nice to see that there are like around 95 participants in the seminar. Today is a special day for us. This is the first activity we are organizing after we established the Moot Court and Debating Society. And I think the Moot Court and Debating Society establishment is a quite achievement, because we've been talking about this and we've been discussing about this for a long time. And as Mr. Nadesh clearly explained, mooting is not something new to the Open University. Our students have been taking part in mooting competitions for quite a long time, but the need for a society was always there. The reason was, as Mr. Nadesh explained, always when a mooting competition comes, we face the difficulty of finding students. Even last time when the ICRC Moot came to us, there was a problem of finding students. So there was always the need to have a pool of students who are trained and who's willing to take part in mooting activities. And nowadays we can see that mooting has expanded. Not only the ICRC Moot, but many organizations, many law schools, they organize Moot competitions. For example, for now, I think we have got invitations for 3 Moots. The law college has sent us an invitation for a Moot competition. Columbia University has sent us an invitation for a constitutional law competition. And also we have received another invitation. Likewise, we have many mooting competitions. So to take part in these mooting competitions, we should have a pool where you have trained mooters. So that need was always there. So we managed to establish the society only this year. And I would really like to thank Mr. Nadesh Silva. I'm very glad that he's here with us today. He really contributed in establishing the Moot Court Society, and he had a personal passion towards mooting. He served as a Moot Court competition advisor for a couple of years. And as the head of the department, he really helped us, he really guided us in establishing the Moot Court Society. And even when our students were taking part in mooting competitions, he took a personal interest. I remember when Tahiru, Sadanya, and Asram, when they took part in the ICRC moot last year, our head of the department, that is something that rare that we can see. He personally took part in practicing sessions, and he stayed with us till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So that contribution and the support is really admirable. And with this support only, that I think we managed to establish. Anjana, you have to mute your. Yeah, so with the help of Mr. Nadesh, it's only that we managed to establish the Moot Court Society. So I want to point out a couple of points here. Dulmi would speak about the practical aspects of mooting and about various dimensions of mooting. I just want to point out a couple of points. The first thing is mooting is an extracurricular activity. Now, when it comes to university education is not only about gaining knowledge. Now, in conventional universities, since university students are there for like 24/7, they engage in many extracurricular activities. But unfortunately, since the OUSL is a open and distance university, we don't see that much of extracurricular activity in the OUSL. But when it comes to law schools, mooting is a extracurricular activity that is very integral to legal education. That is because, as Mr. Nadesh explained, mooting is kind of a stimulation which exposes you to the process that you would be experiencing once you pass out and start practicing as a lawyer. So it's kind of a mock trial that you are going to take part. So you will have to read a factual scenario. You would have to draft a written memorial. Then you will have to practice how to present it orally. And also you will have to practice how to respond to the bench. If the judges are asking questions, you would have to practice how to respond to the bench. So this process is a very practical process which makes you prepare. Once you pass out and once you start practicing as a lawyer, this would be a very valuable experience which exposes you to the process of practicing law. Now, in education, we talk that there are 3 dimensions in education, right? We mention knowledge is one of the aspects. So gaining knowledge is one aspect of education. Then improving your skills is another aspect of education. And thirdly, also improving your attitudes, right? So knowledge, skills, and attitudes. These are the 3 dimensions of education and learning process. So mooting is very unique in that sense because you get exposed to all these 3 dimensions. On the one hand, when you participate in a moot, you will have to have a thorough understanding about law. So to take part in a moot, to draft the written memorial, and when you actually go and argue the case. So there are like 3 participants who took part in the ICRC moot recently. They would explain how tough that is, right? When judges ask questions and when the other party poses questions, responding the questions is not easy. So to respond, you should have a thorough knowledge about law. So taking part in a moot means Kanchana, can you please? Yes, Ms. Kanchana, can you please mute the microphone? So taking part in a moot would actually expose you to the field of the scope of the subject that you are engaged in, right? In terms of knowledge, that will give you a good exposure. In terms of skills, right? So when you go out and argue, and when you are formulating an argument, and when you are responding to a question, that also requires you to improve your oral skills, your presentation skills, the way you argue, the way you present an argument, right? So these are skills that would be improved by taking part in a mooting activity. And the third thing, the most important thing I would say is the attitude, right? Mooting is always a group activity. You would have two speakers and a researcher, but they all would be collaborating with each other. This is a very interesting activity that you get the opportunity to cooperate, collaborate, and also to learn from each other. So it's not an individual activity, right? Just assume that one speaker performs well and another speaker doesn't perform well. Or let's assume both the speakers perform well, but the researcher has not done the research well, right? Still you would fail. So to be successful in a mode, all the members of the team should cooperate with each other and collaborate. So that kind of helps you to develop attitudes, right? Your team working ability, the ability to cooperate, the ability to collaborate, so on and so forth. So mooting is a unique activity which helps you to improve all the three dimensions of education: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So as I explained before, establishing a mooting society is a unique milestone in that sense. So I think the mooting society has. Later, can you mute this, Ms. Kanjan? Otherwise, it will be a disturbance.
Sorry, sir, I don't have the control, sir.
Yeah. So what I was explaining is the Moot Court Society, they have planned many activities. For example, in their action plan, they have mentioned that they are going to organize a moot competition among regional centers. And also there is another thing that we can do, as I mentioned before, many law schools, they organize their own mooting competitions. Colombo Law Faculty, the Law College, so on and so forth. They are organizing their own mooting competitions. So we also have the opportunity of organizing our own mooting competition. And as Mr. Nadesh explained, we will be having our own moot courtroom soon. So once we have that facility, it would be easier for us to organize our own mooting competition. And the other thing I want to mention is that we have achieved a lot in the past, and in the future, I think we can go further. So one thing we really lacked was, as I explained, a trained pool. And if we have a trained pool, if we have a set of trained mooters, I think we already have now. Since we took part in many moot competitions in the recent past, we have several mooters who are quite experienced. And in the upcoming mooting competitions, we will be able to take part as experienced mooters. And there is a high possibility that we can make a interesting impact in those competitions, right? So therefore, I think the establishment of the Moot Court Society is a unique milestone. And I would like to thank everybody who got involved in this, especially Lahiru, who was like very passionate in establishing the Moot Court Society, and also all the students who were very enthusiastic in establishing the Moot Court Society. So as the staff of the Legal Studies Department, we are always ready to give you the fullest support that is needed for your activities. And I would wish you all the best with your future work. And in today's workshop, basically we organized this to give you all an understanding about the process of mooting. The purpose of this is to stimulate some kind of an interest among you about mooting, and to kind of make you interested in taking part in our activities. So once you take part in our activities, we can have another workshop which is more like detailed than this. So we can maybe have that physically. So you can have a more practical kind of training. And after that, we can think of forming a pool of trained mooters. And afterwards, we can think of use that pool to take part in the Moot competitions that we have been invited. So I think Durmi would explain the practical aspects of mooting and various other dimensions of mooting process. So that's all that I have to say from my part. So I wish you all the best, and I hope that you would learn from today's workshop, and you would enthusiastically take part in the future activities that we organize. Thank you very much for inviting me. So I think Durmi would take the floor from this point.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි ඔබතුමාට. මම හිතන්නේ අද පැමිණ සිටින සියලු දෙනාටම මූටින් වල ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රධාන අරමුණ ඒ වගේම මූටින් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක ගැන සරලව පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් ඔබතුමා විසින් කළා. ඔබතුමාට නැවත වතාවක් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙමි. මම මූටින් වල ප්‍රායෝගික පැත්ත කොහොමද අපි මේ මූටින් කියන එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ ආදර්ශ උසාවි ක්‍රමය එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ මූටින් නිවැරදි ආකාරයෙන් කරන්නේ මේක ප්‍රායෝගිකව කරන්නේ කොහොමද මේ ප්‍රායෝගික පැතිකඩ පැහැදිලි කරන්න ශ්‍රී ලංකා විද්‍යා විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ නීති අධ්‍යයන අංශයේ කතිකාචාර්ය තුලිමි ජයසිංහ තුමිට ආරාධනා කරනවා මේ සියලු දෙනාටම ඉතාමත් සරලව පැහැදිලි කරන්න ලෙසට.
Okay, thank you so much. So I will share my screen first. Can you all see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank our Mooting and Debating Society to organize this program or the workshop. And then I would like to thank Mr. Nali Silva and Mr. Ramindu Pereira to their informative sessions. Since Ramindu sir and Nadish sir did the basic or the foundation introductory session about mooting, I will be dealing on the written submission and the oral submission of a moot competition. So before that, we must recognize there are basically two components or the two levels of moot competitions. First one is the international level moot competitions, and the second one is the national level moot competitions. For our student, the both dimensions are open. For an example, we have criminal law related moot competitions, human rights law related moot competitions, and especially international humanitarian law related moot competitions, and also the constitutional law related moot competitions in the national level. On the other hand, we have Onderdunat and Nuremberg court competition in the international level. So all of our students are very lucky to be part of these both national and international level moot competitions. And I hope that you will be actively participate in the future moot competitions as well. With that note, there are many other competition, not exactly the stimulation of the court, but this is about the alternative dispute resolutions. So arbitration, mediation, and some other role plays relating to these respect also they are in the context. So you all can participate and make the best from these competitions as well. This is not like a formal moot court. This is a very much win-win situation. And also this is a roundtable discussion. So arbitration, mediation, and other role plays are also there. Therefore, you all to practice. Okay. When it comes to the mooting, I am planning to divide this mooting into two parts. Basically, the written submission and the oral submission. I think some of you have already did and already know about these two parts of a moot. But since we have newcomers and the people who don't know about the process of the mooting, I will discuss about this process. First, when it comes to the written submissions, as Nadisa mentioned, this is a team activity. As an individual person, we can't do a moot. We should do a moot as a team. So the main and the important element is the preparation. In the preparation also, we should do our reading first. That means when we take our compromise, for the facts, we call it as a compromise, facts and the case. So when we take our compromise into our hand, we should read it very, very carefully. And then we have to discuss it among our teammates. We can't do it individually because we should share our knowledge and our critical thinking ability with others as well. And also, it is important to highlight the relevant facts. Why I did say that relevant facts? Because there can be irrelevant facts as well. For an example, when we are creating a story, there can be both relevant and irrelevant facts. So first, as a mooter or the advocate, you should identify the relevant facts to the given scenario. After that, you can find the law relating to those relevant facts. For an example, if I take an IHL mood, the main thing or the most important thing is to identify the jurisdiction. Then you have to carefully read the scenario and recognize whether this is an international armed conflict or the non-international armed conflict. Once you recognize the context or the jurisdiction or the applicability of that international armed conflict or the non-international armed conflict, you have to find the law. Then, if you find that scenario as an international armed conflict, you can find the law from the additional protocol 1. If you recognize it as a non-international armed conflict, you can find the law from the additional protocol 2. That's why we must recognize the relevant facts as well as law to finish our written submission successfully. After that, we can make our own argument. To make our own argument, we should have our critical thinking ability. We should discuss those opinions with our teammates. There can be contradictory opinions because those scenarios are not straightforward scenarios. There can be ups and downs to both sides for both prosecution and defendant. So we have to discuss with our teammates with the support of the law as well as facts. So as the final step of a written submission, we should create our own arguments with the law and fact. Then we can provide the successful or the complete written submission to the competition. Okay. With that note, I would like to deal with the oral submission part. This is the step-by-step process. So once you're done with your written submission, then you can slowly move into the oral submission. When it comes to oral submission, what I recognize from you all was that the paper reading thing. So I'm not a fan of reading papers in the oral submission. As an advocate, as a future lawyer, and as a person or the human, we can talk freely. So even in a courtroom also, you can see most of lawyers are not reading their papers. They are arguing. So you also should practice this argument styles or the freehand thing from the beginning of your journey. So if you can make a short note or create a one piece of paper with your main argument, that is the most suitable or the most appropriatable thing that you all can do in your oral submission as a successful oralist. So when it's come to oral submission, there are separate set of remarks. Basically, in a courtroom also, we should be behave very in a very polite manner. We can argue, but we can't fight. So with the opposite party. So first we have to take permission to do our submission from the bench. We have to take permission. So for that we have a form or the formal structure. For an example, you all can see from my screen. May it please your lordship call the first counsel, your name with the co-counsel, your co-counsel's name will be do the oral submission, or will be submit the argument for the defendant or the plaintiff. That's how you should start your argument. Without any opening remark, without any order, you can't do your oral submission in a moot court. Not even in a moot court, but in a real situation or the court system also, you should take this permission to do your submission from the bench. Once bench allow you to do your submission, you can slowly and politely start your submission. Then when you should be very careful with the addressing to the judges, because you should be very polite and respectful. And there is a separate kind of set of words or the separate set of things that you should address the bench. For an example, in a ICC level or the international court level, you address the bench as your excellencies. But when it's come to the national or the higher courts, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal in national level, the addressing method is changing. You address the bench like your lordship or your ladyship. Those are the two methods. But when it's come to the lower courts, again, it's different, and you address it as your honor. So that means from the beginning of your speech or from the beginning of your oral submission, you must be very careful when you addressing the bench. So always you should address them with the relevant method. So this is the way that you can address to the bench. Okay, then the most important thing, question and answering session. And this is the point that you will be lose your marks and you will be panicked. So we have our past mooters and the present mooters in this webinar also. They might share their experiences because they are doing their speech in an excellent manner. But when it comes to the question and answering session, they will be panicked. So you don't want to be panicked, because from my experience, I would like to tell you that if a judge is willing to ask questions, that means that judge understood your argument very well. If there are some judges who don't want to ask any questions, but expect them, judges can be very silent when they can't understand your argument. So don't be panicked when a judge asks a question, because that means your communication skill or your argument is very clear to them, or they might go to support you, or they might think that you are going out of track and they will try to take you into the track. Some judges are like that. Some judges want to speed up your argument. That's why they are putting some questions into your hand. So I know you will panic on that moment, but you don't want to panic, because you practice very well. You know the law, you know the fact. Then the bench. Sometimes you know the facts and the scenario than the bench. So don't be panic, and you can use these type of words. So if you can't understand the question, or if you can't hear the question from the bench, you can pardon. We have separate set of words that we are using in the court procedures. So these are the words that we are using in Moot competition as well. If you forgot something, you can say sorry, no, or the pardon, or you can ask permission from the bench to proceed by saying, may I proceed, my lord, or my ladyship. Or then when it's come to question, if you don't know the answer or the exact answer to that question, you can pass the ball to your second counsel. But before that, your second counsel also should be able to answer that question. So you have to take a separate discussion before the Moot. If something happened to the first counsel, the second counsel can fulfill that that time or the space. Then you can politely say, so my lord, I am unable to answer that question. However, my second counsel will provide an answer for your question, and you can say much obliged, and continue your oral submission. And also, if you want to direct the judges to the compromise or the scenario, you can say the counsel would like to pay your kind attention to the page number 2 of the compromise. Without that, you can't say this is what happened in the compromise. Then it's too very much boring for the listener and the others as well. So from the beginning of your journey, you can learn these Moot court. Okay. With that note, I will be more. You all might running out of time. For sure, when you are doing arguments and once the questions come into your hands, you will running out of your time. At that moment, you have an opportunity to ask for an extension of time. It can be either 1 minute or 2 minutes. Before you take that 1 minute or 2 minutes, you should ask permission from the bench. Most of the time, bench is allowing you to conclude your argument with 1 or 2 minutes. After that extension, you can conclude or you can establish your position. If it is the prosecution, you can establish that these are the laws or these are the things that prosecution seeks from this honorable court or the lordship. If it is the defendant side, you can say the defendant is not liable or not guilty for the offense or the things that prosecution is put into the table. That's why you should conclude your oral submission. Without concluding your oral submissions, you can't sit down, because even though you are a first oralist or the second oralist, you should conclude it with 1 or 2 small sentences. So, so you can't stop your remark or the oral submission with the middle. That means middle of your argument, you can't stop. Take or the ask for the 1 or 2 minutes and conclude your oral submission. Other than the first round, we have the separate set of 3 or 4 minutes for rebuttals and serve rebuttals. Basically, in the debating also, you can see these rebuttals and serve rebuttals, but in the mooting, it's different. So in the rebuttals, basically the prosecution. Yes, prosecution is going to address the going to answer or going to address to the defense submissions within 3 to 4 minutes. In the rebuttal, it should be very short, and we can't bring new laws or the new arguments into the rebuttal or the surrebuttal. You have to face, or you have to break down the arguments of the defendant only. Without that, you can't make a new submission in rebuttal or surrebuttal. Then again, in the surrebuttals, defendant get chance to surrebut the argument of the prosecution. It's basically like a debate, but in the mooting, you should be dealing with the law. For an example, if prosecution is trying to make guilty of your defendant with any case law or the special scenario which has happened previously, you can surrebut or the surrebut it with the another separate case which tells the opposite meaning to the prosecution submission. Like that, you can have a set of separate laws and the scenarios to rebuttals and surrebuttals. When it comes to the oralist, this can be a sudden decision or the prepared decision. Either first oralist or the second oralist can stand up and make the instant rebuttal or the surrebuttal, because since this is not a prepared one. Okay, this is the last part of my thing. So these are some criteria that we should be considered in a moot competition. So when the judges or when the bench create or the make mark or the grade for you all, they are considering about these factors. So first of all, the knowledge of law and facts, it's an essential one. Then the logical analysis. We can't just put your law and facts into table without any logical analysis, because in some moods there are some scenarios which is very new to this context. For an example, artificial intelligence and the cyber attack, those are very new. Even the law doesn't have exact definition or the exact law to deal with those new challenges. So you should be very, very creative and very, very creative and the analytical in your submission. And also the format, especially the citation. Even though you don't consider it as a main part of your written submission, the markers or the judges are very, very much focus on your citation, because they can get to know from where you took this case law, from where you took this law or the article, and they will follow that article or the case law before the competition. So citation is very much important, and the format of your memorial. There are some memorials which has written here and there. So that's not the way that we are submitting our written submissions into courts. So it should be very clear, short, and it should be inclusion of the all laws and facts. So when it comes to the oral submission, the development of argument is the main thing, and you must address or you must communicate your arguments in a clear manner. You don't have to speed up your speech. You don't have to tell everything that is in the written memorial. You can make it into few pieces and do your oral submission. Even within 5 to 10 minutes, you can conclude your oral submission by using the most important facts and laws. And finally, the communication skill and the advocacy skill is important in the oral submission. So those are the areas that judges will be mark you in the mooting competition. Not only a mooting competition, even in a real practice, real court practice, if you can polish up these criteria or the factors, you will be a good lawyer or the good advocate in the future. So thank you so much. And I wish you all the best for your future activities. And if you have any question, you can ask from us, or clarification, you can ask from us.
ඊට ප්‍රථමයෙන්ම ඔබතුමීට බෙහෙවින්ම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ මූටින් වෙන ප්‍රායෝගික පැත්ත කොහොමද අපි මූටින් තරගයකට සහභාගී වෙtti එහි පියවරෙන් පියවර ඉතාම සරලව අපි සියලු දෙනාටම පැහැදිලි කර දීම සම්බන්ධයෙන්. ඒ වගේම ශිෆ්නා මම හිතනවා අපිට පොඩි මතක් කිරීමක් කරන්න තියෙනවා ප්‍රශ්න වටේට යන්න කලින්.
Yes, Chatamali, we have to talk about the membership of this society. So whoever wishes, you can become a member of this Moot and debating society. So from tomorrow onwards, you can become a member and be a part of the Moot Court and Debate Society of
මම හිතන්නේ ඔබ
Sorry, Shifna, we can't hear you properly.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So the next important thing we have to talk here is about the membership of the Mooting Society. So from tomorrow onwards, you all can become a member and be a part of the Moot Court and Debate Society of Open University of Sri Lanka. So from tomorrow, a Google form link will be shared. So in that you can fill your personal information, and an important thing is a membership fee of ₹1,000 has to be paid, and this membership fee doesn't have to be paid immediately. You have given a 1 month period of time. Within that 1 month you can pay the membership fee, and also once you pay the membership fee, you'll officially become a member of this society. And also this membership will remain till the end of the studentship of the department. So I hope you all had a clear idea about the membership. Over to you, Chatamali.
මම හිතන්නේ අපේ අද වැඩසටහනේ ප්‍රධාන අරමුණ මෙන්නේ මූටින් සහ ඩිබේටින් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? ඒකේ අපි කියන්නේ ප්‍රධාන අරමුණ පැහැදිලි කරන්න. ඒත් එක්කම ශ්‍රී ලංකා විද්‍යා විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ අපි ආරම්භ කරන නීති අධ්‍යයනාංශයට සමගාමීව අපි ආරම්භ කරන ලද ඩිබේටින් සහ මූටින් අපේ සංගමයට සමාජිකයන් බඳවා ගැනීමට අවස්ථාව අපි සියලු දෙනාට විවෘත කළා අපේ සියලුම විද්‍යාර්ථීන්ට. ඉතින් ශිෆ්නා කිව්වා වගේම ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම විශේෂයෙන්ම ඩිබේටින් සහ මූටින් සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබට කැමැත්තක් තියෙනවා නම් ඔබගේ ඒ කියන්නේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබ හිතනවා නම් ඔබ තුළ ඊට අවශ්‍ය හැකියාව ඒ වගේම කැමැත්ත තියෙනවා නම් ඔබට අප සමග සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ හෙට දින සිට ඒ සම්බන්ධ වීමට අපි Google form එක අපි මේ ඔබ සියලු දෙනාම වෙනුවෙන් යොමු කරනවා. එතකොට Google form එක සම්පූර්ණ කර අපිත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ මේ අපේ සංගමයට එකතු වෙන්න අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අපේ පොඩි මතක් කිරීමක් කරනවා. අපේ සමාජික මුදල් රුපියල් 1000ක් වෙනවා. නමුත් ඔබට සංගමයට සම්බන්ධ වුණ ගමන් මේක ගෙවීමට අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. මාසයක් ඇතුළත කාලයකදී ඔබට ගෙවීමට හැකියාව තියෙනවා. ඒත් එක්කම විද්‍යා විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ ඔබේ ශිෂ්‍යභාවය තිබෙනකම්ම ඔබට මේ මුදල ගෙවීමත් එක්කම ඔබ අපේ යාවජීව සමාජිකත්වය ලබා ගැනීමට හැකියාව තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරනවා විශේෂයෙන්ම නීති විද්‍යාර්ථීන් විදියට අපිට අනාගතයේ නීතිඥයන් විදියට අපේ දොල්මිමිස් ඒ වගේම රමිදු සර් නදීස් සර් කිව්වාගේ මූටින් සහ ඩිබේටින් කොච්චර දුරට අපිට අපේ හැකියාවන් වර්ධනය කරගන්න දායක වෙනවද කියන එක ගැන පැහැදිලි කළා. ඉතින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරනවා ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් හැකියාවක් ඒ වගේම කැමැත්තක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙන්න කියලා ආරාධනා කරමින් ප්‍රශ්න වටේ ආරම්භ කරන්න තමයි අපි සූදානම් වෙන්නේ. මම නැවතත් රමිදු සර්ට සහ දොල්මිස්ට ආරාධනා කරනවා අද සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන අපගේ නීති විද්‍යාර්ථයන්ට තිබෙන ගැටලු වලට පිළිතුරු ලබා දෙන ලෙසට ආරාධනා කරමින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ප්‍රශ්න වටය විවෘත කරනවා. මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අපේ raise hand reaction එක තියෙනවා Zoom වල. රේස් හෑන්ඩ් කරන්න. එතකොට අපිට එක එක්කෙනාට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රශ්න වලට පිළිතුරු ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Hello, hello.
ඔව් අපිට ඇහෙනවා.
මම ස්වර්ණ ගුණසේකර. මම දැන් level 5 වලට යන්නේ ඉන්නේ 4 ලියලා අපිටත් මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් විදිහට ඒක දානවද කියලා දැනගන්න කැමැති. ඒ නැත්නම් මේ මොකෙන් සොසයිටි එකට බැඳෙන මම කැමැති. ඒකෙන් ගොඩක් මට දෙනවා group වශයෙන් අපිට දැනුවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට එහෙම තිබ්බොත් අපි group activity එකක් විදිහටද කරන්නේ අපි ඒවට ප්‍රොමෝට් කරන මේ අපිට පුහුණු කරනවා ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා. ඒක දැන් තමයි දැනගන්න ඕනේ ඉන්නේ. Thank you.
ඔසවන්න මෙහෙමයි අපි මූටින් law of advocacy subject එක අපේ අලුත් syllabus එකේ තමයි හඳුන්වා දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ level 4 වලට යන කට්ටියට තමයි subject එක offer වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඔයගලන් මූටින් society එක තුලින් අපි මේ පවත්වන වැඩමුළු තුලින් ඊට අමතරව අපිට එනවා moot court competitions ගණනාවක්. ඒවට සහභාගී වෙලා ඒ වගේ auditions ඇවිල්ලා ඒ තරඟයේ ඔස්සේම ඔයගලන්ට මූටින් පිළිබඳ හොඳ අත්දැකීමක් පන්නරයක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකින්ද සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක අපිට අලුතෙන් ඔෆර් කරන්න වෙන හින්දා මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැමෝටම ආරාධනා කරන්නේ moot competitions වලට ඇවිල්ලා ඒවැ auditions වලට ඇවිල්ලා සහ අපි මූටින් society එක හරහා පවත්වන වැඩමුළු වලට ඇවිල්ලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි ගොඩක් plan කරලා තියෙනවානේ competitions campus එක ඇතුලේ තියන්න ඒවට සහභාගී වෙලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ දැනුම වර්ධනය කරගන්න කියන එක තමයි මේ වෙලාවේ කරන්න පුළුවන් හොඳම දේ.
ස්තුතියි මැඩම්.
කසුන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්නට උත්තරෙත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ registration වලින් පස්සේ open university student කෙනෙක් විදිහට Mootin and Liberty Society එකත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු වල නිරත වෙන්න. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ registration එකත් එක්කම ඊට ඒ දිනේදීම උනත් අපේ student association එකේ එතන ඉඳි members ලා ඉඳි ලහිරු ඉන්නත් ඉඩ තියෙනවා. ලහිරු හිටියොත් හරි අපේ Mootin society එකේ members ලා හිටියොත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක කතා කරලා ඉතුරු වැඩ කටයුතු ටික කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්.
මම හිතන්නේ කාල වේලාවන් ගත වෙන නිසා ඉක්මනින්ම ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් යොමු කරන්න කියලා ආරාධනා කරනවා. මොන හරි අපහැදිලි තැනක් තිබෙනවා නම් ඒ වගේම සංගමයට සම්බන්ධ වීමේ පිළිබඳව දැනගන්න තියෙනවා නම් ඒ වගේම මූටින් වල හෝ ඩිබේටින් වල අලුත් යමක් දැනගන්න තියෙනවා නම් නොපැහැදිලි වෙච්ච තැනක් හරි ඔබට මේ වෙලාවේදී ගැටලු යොමු කරන්න පුළුවන්. විශේෂයෙන්ම මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ අපි මේ වසර පුරාවටම තරඟාවලි රාශියක් සංවිධානය කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය කියන්නේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය අතර අපි කියමු කියන්නේ CRC එක වගේම බදුල්ල අපගේ අනිකුත් සෙන්ටර්ස් අතර අපි මූටින් සහ ඩිබේටින් තරඟ සංවිධානය කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අන්තර් විශ්වවිද්‍යාලීය තරඟ සංවිධානය කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔබට ඉංග්‍රීසි කතිකත්වය වර්ධනය කරගන්න කැමැත්තෙන් කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවා නම් අපි ටෝස්ටර් මාස්ටර් මම හිතන්නේ අහලා තියෙන අයත් ඉන්න පුළුවන් නැති වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ අයට ඒ අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන්ම මතක් කරන්නට ඕනේ මේ මූටින් තරඟ ලංකාවට පමණක් නෙමෙයි සීමා වෙන විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයට පමණක් නෙමෙයි අපේ ආදි විද්‍යාර්ථයන් ඒ වගේම වර්තමාන විද්‍යාර්ථයන් වගේම ඔයගලන්ට විදේශ රටවල තරඟාවලින් පවා සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොනවා හරි ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් මේ වෙලාවේදී යොමු කරන්න කියලා නැවතත් ආරාධනා කරනවා. මම හිතන්නේ දොල්මි මිස් මම හිතන අපි පැහැදිලි කිරීම එකද සියලු දෙනාටම පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ නැති තිබිච්ච ගැටලු කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ නිසා නිහඬතාවය පෙනී යන්නේ. ඔව් ෂිෆ්නා.
So finally, I would like to invite Ms. Azra Aman, the Assistant Secretary of Moot and Debate Society, to deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Sorry for the delay. I had technical issues. Thank you, Shifna. Maya Angelou said, "Be present in all things and grateful for all the things." Good evening. First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. My name is Azra Aman, Assistant Secretary to the Moot Court and Debate Society. It has been an honor to be part of this wonderful event. On behalf of the society, I would like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest, former head, senior lecturer, Department of Legal Studies, Mr. Nadish De Silva, senior lecturer, Mr. Ramidu Pereira, lecturer, Ms. Dulmini Jaisingha, for sharing your experiences and expertise on the subject. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to our Board of Executives for without their help, this night would not be possible. I'm grateful for each and every one once again. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, Asra. මම හිතන්නේ මෙතෙක් වෙලා ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ඉතාමත් ඵලදායි ඒ වගේ වැඩදායි වැඩමුළුවකට අද සම්බන්ධ වුණා කියලා අපි සියලු දෙනාම විශ්වාස කරනවා. නැවත වතාවක් අද සම්පත්දායකත්වය ලබා දුන් අප අධ්‍යනාංශයේ හිටපු අංශාධිපති නදීස් ද සිල්ලා කතිකාචාර්යතුමාටත් ඒ වගේම වර්තමානයේ අප සංගමේ උපදේශක සහ භාණ්ඩාගාරික වශයෙන් කටයුතු කරන රමිදු පෙරේරා ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ කතිකාචාර්යතුමාටත් ඒ වගේම අප සංගමයේ උපදේශකවරියක් විදිහට කටයුතු කරන අප අධ්‍යනාංශයේ කතිකාචාර්ය දොල්මි ජයසිංහ කතිකාචාර්යතුමියටත් නැවත වතාවක් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ලහිරු පෙරේරා ඇතුළු ඩිබේටින් සහ මූටින් සංගමේ සමාජිකවන්ටත් ඒ වගේම අද දින මේ වැඩසටහන සාර්ථක කර ගැනීමට පැමිණි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටමත් නැවත වතාවක් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙමි. අද දින වැඩසටහන නිමා කරන්නයි අපි සූදානම් වන්නේ. ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම නැවතත් ආරාධනා කරනවා හෙට දින සිට අපේ සංගමයට සමාජිකත්වය ලබා ගන්න Google ෆෝරමයේ පිරවීම හරහා අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා. එතෙන් සිට මාසයක් පුරාවට ඔබට අපේ සමාජික මුදල ලබා දෙමින් විවෘත විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය තුළ නීති අධ්‍යනාංශයේ ශිෂ්‍යභාවය තිබෙනකම් යාවචීව සමාජිකයෙක් විදිහට කටයුතු කරන්න අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා. මේ අනගිය අවස්ථාවට සම්බන්ධ වෙමින් ඔබගේ කතිකත්වය විවාද හැකියාව සහ ආදර්ශ උසාවි විවාද හැකියාවන් වර්ධනය කරගන්න ආරාධනා කරමින් අපි නිහඬ වෙනවා. බෙහෙවින්ම ස්තුතියි. ශිෆ්නා.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this session with all your schedules and everything. We hope that you all will become a member of the society, and it will really helpful for your legal profession that you are going to follow after the after finishing the degree. So hope we can find a really good participation from you all. Thank you so much. So we can end the meeting on this. Thank you.
නැවතත් අවස්ථාවන්ත වෙමින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම සුබ රාත්‍රියක්.